I'd like to know if Dennis Ehrlich intends to ever catch up on his child care payments or make any of
That's
it.
irrelevant.
It's
Debt
very
agent.
relevant.
Let's give
Yes,
someone
I
else
do.
a chance to
Thank you. See, if you have not used anything but words, how come you have a restraining order for a death threat that you made against Bob Lippman?
I never made any, I don't even know Bob Lippman, and I don't
Then how
even...
does, why do you
You
have a restraining order for
filed
death threat?
stacks of papers. You file stacks of papers all the time. That's your trademark. You
He's the one
just,
making the death threats. I'm just surprised that you say it's only words. So death threats are okay.
Well, excuse me, I want to ask a question as somebody who's not as intimate to these matters as you are, as both sides seem to be. I'm confused. If this is a religion, what is the copyright violation? I'm just curious. Is this like the Bible, if it had been copyrighted by Christians? And is that, I mean, what are you copyrighting? Are you copyrighting religious teachings of Scientology?
There are some very, very small amount of religious teachings.
And
which
internal
are confidential and
documents.
copyrighted.
For what purpose are you protecting the...
Because part of the religious belief of the church is that at certain levels people are not ready for certain higher level spiritual. It's very similar to Buddhism, which has similar things. The Catholic Church has some similar things where only priests or only certain levels of religious ministers are allowed to see certain things.
they don't want people...
So I just want to make sure you have copyrighted to protect members of the church.
Exactly.
Not non-members of the church. They can read anything they want. I mean, arguably, since they can't be protected from something they don't believe in.
Right, but they can't copy. You can't pick up John Grissom's newest book and copy it yourself and put it out on the internet and sell copies of it on CD like Lone was done.
You can't sell it for $500,000.
Can I just point out something? I mean,
Jameson and his deposition
there's a contradiction here. She's saying that the upper levels are confidential and copyrighted. That can't be. I mean, a copyright has to be a public record. I mean, you have to go and file a copyright claim, and that copyright claim is public record. So it can't be confidential if it's copyrighted.
Exactly.
So there's a contradiction there. And as for what they're protecting you from, they're protecting their members from finding out about this stuff.
So they don't leave.
So they don't leave, and they're protecting outside people from finding out because they won't ever get recruited if they knew what it was really involved in. I mean, that's the initial intent for the secrecy. But it can't be confidential and copyrighted. That's absolutely not possible.
And you're saying it's copyrighted because of what? Again?
It's part of the religious teachings that there are certain levels that are confidential until you reach that level.
They don't
Which
want
is
people
similar.
to know about
There are a lot of
exorcism.
religious doctrines which are very similar in Buddhism and
Xenu.
Christianity.
They say if you read it, you get pneumonia and die. Well, I've read them, and I'm not dead.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
He is dead?
It is true.
I read it when I was in.
Hubbard said it.
Hubbard said it, so it's true.
Did he say it, or
Exactly.
I'm curious, did he say it, or didn't he say it?
He didn't say what they're saying.
What did he say?
He said there is no Christ, and he said
No,
everybody is
that is
inhabited
a
by...
forged document,
is
even
not.
in Lorna's case.
Then why am I
hear
being
Hubbard's
sued for
words.
putting it on internet?
It's on St. Hill Special Briefing Course, tape number 112. Don't tell me
OT3 was
it's
a forged
forged. I had to
document
say
when the LA Times posted it. When the LA Times ran
Talking about different
OT3
documents.
years
What he's
ago,
talking about,
OT3 was
the
a
alleged
forged document.
Christ
you're saying.
document is a
Hey,
forged
we're turning
document.
we're turning into a debate instead of question and answer, okay? Okay?
Yes.
I have another question. Did L. Ron Hubbard say this about enemies? And if he did, what did he mean? Who are enemies, and what is the meaning of that?
Yes, he did. That is a direct quote. It's part of the fair game policy.
And I'd like the people from Scientology, I mean, these are some things at least I can identify.
This is a document which they full well know was written and canceled one day later in 1968. It's never been applied because
Why don't you explain that, Dennis?
They can't, this is a quote from called the Fair Game Policy,
which is
and then there was a
canceled in
Excuse me.
1968.
Oh, I can answer.
Well, you can tell
Yeah,
them what you
I'd like to, excuse me, I'd like to hear their, and it was canceled in what sense was it, how do you cancel it? I mean, why was it written and then why was it canceled?
It was written in the church there is what's called a chaplain's court, so that Scientologists, instead of going to court, if somebody owes you money, or your child support payments are late, or whatever there is, that's a court type of thing, they can go to the chaplain's court and resolve within the church, instead of going to the next level.
So did L. Ron Hubbard
And Hubbard wrote a document which was completely misunderstood, in which he said that people who leave the church then cannot take advantage of the church's chaplain's courts.
The document she's
No, I
talking
mean,
about.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it says very clearly what it says.
Well, that's their quotes taken completely out of context.
Okay, and I promise you, I will read the entire context of this. But I don't want to talk about what he meant. I want to talk about, did he say that enemies may be deprived of property or injured by any means, may be tricked, sued, or lied to, or destroyed? Did he say that?
Possibly ruined utterly.
Notice how she has to see you later.
No,
You can't do it in front of
I'm just asking a simple question.
It's not something, I've been in the church since 1975. This was canceled 7 years
But he did.
before.
But he did say.
The only time I've ever seen
The
this
quotation here
is
from the Hubbard
enemies
Communications
of the
Office
church
policy
saying
letter
this.
of 18
So I've never-
October 1967. The policy letter is called Penalties for Lower Conditions. The entire penalties for lower condition of enemy is may be deprived of, SP order, fair game, may be deprived of property or injured by any means by any Scientologist without any discipline of the Scientologist. May
I
be
don't
tricked,
know.
sued, or lied to, or destroyed. Now, as she says, 1 year and 3 days later, on October 21st, 1968, Hubbard put out a policy letter that was called Cancellation of Fair Game. The entire text of this policy letter is, the
policy of fair game.
I can summarize it.
I'll tell you. Our attorney, who's more familiar with it. I'm not familiar with it. I've only been in the church 21 years. I've never seen any of this except for
The practice of
in this
declaring
kind of
people fair game.
situation.
Here it is, here it is.
It isn't
Practice of
something
declaring
that's
people
read
fair
by
game
the
is
Scientology.
canceled. Fair game may not appear on any ethics order. It causes bad public relations. This policy letter does not cancel any policy on the treatment or handling of an SP, a suppressive person, or an enemy. So in name, it cannot be called fair game, but the treatment and handling of an enemy is exactly the same as it was before the cancellation letter.
Cancel it because it's bad
that.
PR.
In my 21 years
It
in the
is-
church, I've never seen that except
And look it up, it is in the
out of quotes.
1967 yearbook.
It's in
I
red
have the
and
original at home.
I take it
I've
this isn't
never seen it.
copyrighted.
I've never seen it.
This would not be copyrighted. This
It
would
is
not be
copyrighted.
copyrighted.
That would be a fair use
I don't know.
quotation.
I've
That
never,
is one of
21 years in the
the,
church,
that is
I've
one of the
never seen that.
documents that they sued me about.
No,
Right.
it wasn't. They
Yes,
sued,
it was.
we sued you about.
That's one of the documents I posted, and that's one of the counts of my supposedly illegally posting their
So if
material.
they're claiming
point
copyright
is-
on it, it has to
the
be a
point
legitimate
is-
document.
It's a
Well, that would be my- that'd be my
I don't know
question.
if they're saying that. I don't know. I've been in the church 21 years. I've never seen that.
But I could check with the Copyright Office and find out if this exact phrase was submitted to be copyrighted.
You can read it, you can read it and then have her interpret it.
she's
for
seen
you.
it. She provided a photocopy to me in Washington D.C. when I protested in September of the cancellation document.
I've never seen this.
Of the cancellation
With
document.
this being an internal thing, could you speak about people who are not ex-members who've been harassed? Have there been any cases like that?
Well, I'm not an ex-member, and I had Eugene Ingram come to my home. I've had private investigators outside of my home, spying on me.
And could
The
you
guy, some Scientologists on the net like to say derogatory things about us critics. I've been called a pimp. And what was the other thing? I forgot.
And the rogue
Anyway.
agent, what was the case? Was he an ex-member? Do you know?
Rogue Agent is not an ex-member, and his account was attacked. They successfully went to school, his university account provider, and got his account closed. And then they were doing other things I don't recall exactly about Rogue, but it silenced him anyway. The point of the harassment is to silence critics, and that has been pretty successful in some cases on the net.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to ask about.
Successful
So I want to
here
ask about
today.
people who are not ex-members. Like Henry, wasn't there?
Yeah.
One Henry.
Yeah, there's quite a few examples. If you get on our news group, you can read about.
But
a lot
okay,
of
but
them.
I think the point needs to be made that you don't have to be an ex-member. That the general public, anyone who's offended by this sort of thing,
Well,
can be.
the idea is
Yeah. Okay, that would be.
being a public critic gets you harassed and too.
Okay.
Is there questions from the press? Any other questions from?
Yeah, I have one last question. And that is that it's clear why you guys are here, and that's been clear all day. I'm curious as to why the Scientology people, and by my count at one point 12 or 13 Scientologists, sort of in a versus mode. What was your role out here today? Why are you in this room today?
I'm a member of the press. I write stories. I'm interested in what's going on. I'm concerned as a Scientologist. When people are making up stuff and using something that's been canceled for 30 years, if that's even a legitimate thing in the first place, which I don't know.
have a question for you. And saying, can I
If you don't
finish,
get-
can I
if you
finish
don't
the
get to
answer,
see
please?
stuff, if you don't
So,
get to see stuff,
my
and it's a
concern-
gradient system, how do you know that
You
that
let her
isn't real?
finish, let her finish what she's saying.
So,
Yeah.
my concern is in defending my religion.
And so
It's
the
my
12 people
religion.
outside.
I've had wins with it.
So wait a
I've
minute.
done well with it. It's done well.
I appreciate that. The gentlemen in suits, sort of the flanks of Scientology people, they're all there to support each other in this effort. I mean, I was just
And I think
so I was
to
just
ensure that
confused
it's-
by that many people, rather than one spokesman come forward and.
Are you
Well, I think
serious?
it's also just to ensure that everything was fine and everything was fine. And make sure that there weren't any,
You're saying
you
you
know,
can't...
there have been threats. Dennis Ehrlich has a restraining order. There have been threats. There have been death threats. There have been bomb threats against the church.
Are they
On
security
the
personnel?
internet. Pardon?
Were they security personnel?
Some of them, yes.
Okay, so they were there to
So
protect the physical structure of the buildings.
And Scientologists, should anything happen.
Which gentlemen by name, could you tell me, were security personnel there to protect you from the person you had a restraining order against?
Pardon?
You're saying some of them were
No,
security
I'm-
personnel.
no,
Which
I'm
people
saying-
by name, could you tell me that?
I'm saying not just from the person. who
Oh,
had
well, I
the
don't care for any
restraining
reason,
order.
but which people were security personnel?
I don't know. I would have to think back. I'm not sure.
So how about name one person that was there today that was there in a security role?
She's not allowed to tell you that.
That's copyrighted.
You just said something, you're here not as a press person, you came in with the press credentials, but you're actually here
No, she said she was a press
I
defend your
said I'm a
church.
principal.
But you're actually here to
And
defend your church, you're
and
not really here as a
I'm-
press person.
I'm here in Clearwater to defend my church.
No.
Okay, so you came in kind of on false credentials in a way.
No, I have National Press Club credentials.
Yeah,
Came
but
in
your
on
I have
purpose,
no
your
press
purpose for
credentials.
being here though is to defend your church, not as a press person, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I'm here for both. That's exactly what I
Maybe
said.
tricked.
Okay, well,
I'm here for both.
Okay.
Reporting on it.
Was the answer you weren't going to identify who was, I'm sorry to go back to my, but I just want an answer. You weren't going to identify which people were there as security for the church?
I think everyone who was there, if anything happened, would also do security.
No, earlier you said to me that there were people there specifically to provide security for the physical. I mean, I want to know if this group is a threat to your organization. You suggested that they are. I want to know which gentlemen out there would be classified inside of the church as security personnel so that I could speak to them about what kind of threat this organization poses to them.
I will find out. I'll let you know outside. I don't know the names of all the
He
people.
has to ask permission to see if she
I
can
don't
use their
know.
names.
Ken Moxon was there to ensure that the legal things were done. I don't know the names of the people. Obviously, the people with walkie-talkies who look like security were security. I don't know their names.
Well, I just saw gentlemen in suits. My other question would be, is there a list somewhere I could find of a hierarchy of how these people figure into the overall Scientology organization here in Clearwater?
Copyrighted too.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be copyrighted?
No. Yes, there are plenty of documents. There's a corporate booklet.
So we have a lot of sound, we taped a lot of sound of these gentlemen speaking today. I'd be able to find somewhere a list so I could identify that this person you're seeing speak right now is an executive vice president of the...
Yes, we have a green booklet, 40th anniversary. It's got all the names and who's what. We also have a press kit with all the bios.
Can I answer one question? There was Kurt Weiland, who's the head of the Office of Special Affairs. There was Brian Anderson, who's here with OSET Flag.
Mike Rinder was there.
Mike Rinder.
Mike Rinder was there.
Kendrick Moxon.
Kendrick Moxon, as she mentioned.
And which one of those were security? My guess would be they'd be the ones armed.
No.
Were they armed security?
No, there's no arm.
So this wasn't a physical threat today because they weren't armed to protect.
You can have physical threat without being armed. You can tackle somebody in football without having a gun.
Okay. And my final question on this would be, are your security people authorized to speak to the press on behalf of the church and what their views are, or would that be something handled by a different part of the church organization?
Yes, the press are spoken to by the public relations office.
Okay, because I only saw people today talking to the press, so maybe I missed something, but I'll look at the tapes. Thanks.